Hey guys, so today's content is something about really interesting, something I tend to miss a lot. It's all about Windows 10, why I'm still on Windows, especially right now in 2026. There are a number of factors as to why I'm not in that crowd that wants to jump into Windows 11 yet, because there are a number of issues that concern me a lot, especially with the issue with the January Windows 11 update. And you are seeing a lot of people coming out complaining that their PCs are not even starting, their PCs are crashing. I know it's normal, but for me, I'd rather not jump into that kind of boat. I'm comfortable with Windows 10 considering the end of support started like last year on October 14th. So I am in extended security updates kind of feature where now it's just some number of months after when it started rolling out, and it's free of use. So those of you who are not aware, those who are still in Windows 10, there is this extended security updates. When you go to update section in your Windows 10, you will find that there's a banner that will tell you, the Windows has blah, 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 blah. It's no longer being updated. And then there's extended security something. If you have a local account, you might want to get a Microsoft account. It might not be as exact like, your username, like things like those. But you can use an account where it registers you to that extended security updates. Or the other alternative is to just go to Windows Enterprise IoT. So you find that its support is ending at in 2027, if I'm not wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. There are some kind of things that can happen. So considering those guys, it's very important to consider that Windows 10 personally fundamentally has, to me, is totally stable in my case. I don't need much. Number one, guys, I really don't like the issue where it's a must when I'm setting up a machine, I must set up an administrator account using Microsoft account. Like, why would I? And that's the thing that I don't like about Windows 11 and forcing users to always have a Microsoft account. There are ways to bypass, but for a regular user, why would you force? What happened to privacy? Like, I'm wondering, is it a must? Must you force me this kind of meal? It's, it's like everybody has to chew a bone for you to survive. This something that Microsoft went far off, especially compared to Windows 10. You see, in Windows 10, that option, you'd set up a local account without having to sign in. But then came suddenly the thing about, privacy. We kind of like prefer you guys to be in the ecosystem. We have Copilot. We have training AIs. It's not necessary. Like, what the hell? What's wrong? Like, why do you want to put me in that boat? It's my device, not yours. It's like feeling like you have bought a machine, but you have bought it on a lease, like a land. Like, the machine is no longer yours. So what happened to privacy, guys? So those are the questions I tend to ask myself as, if I'm going to Windows 11, do I have those privacy options that I can control rather than those which are being controlled by Microsoft? So that's the reason as to why you find that I can't go to Windows 11. So then the second reason is you find that Microsoft tends to nudge, it has, Windows 10 has less nudging and fewer background services and clearer privacy toggles. I decide what I want to run in my machine and not Microsoft. I don't want to have those kind of trash running in my machine. Like, that's why I am totally okay with the things I can control. The machine is mine, not Microsoft. Simple. So then the other reason as to number 3 is stability style. I understand the way software is being made. I'm not a software engineer, programmer or something. But based on my experience in handling Windows, I understand there's a level where it reaches when you're making something, it is not 100% stable. There will always be some kind of either defect or bugs, or depending on device to device, some apps can crash while some features can crash while others are stable. That's inevitable. It's man-made. You're making something uniform for everyone, but then you find that each device has its own specs. You're using ASUS, somebody is using a Lenovo, somebody is using a Dell, somebody is using a HP. All those are different machines, and each machine has been calibrated differently. But then Windows 10, yes, it used to have crashes. Yes, I understand. But now Windows 11 is happening immediately after updates. Like, you're updating to something and then all of a sudden it's just crashing, just barely a month when you have updated your Windows and it has started to crash. Like, what's the point of upgrading or updating if at all machine will crash upon use, whether you are starting, whether you are launching a program, whether you are even playing a game or anything to do with computing? Why? Like, what's the purpose if you are making a problem instead of a solution? So that's why myself, Windows 10 remains for now in my machine right behind me. So the other thing, guys, I need to talk about is the start menu. You see, the start menu for Windows 10 is very simplified. It is meant for you to navigate easily. You need just to be able to access the apps you need to use. You don't need to figure out so strongly where your settings are, where your programs are, where your profile is. I don't know, so many things. The start menu for Windows 11, for me, it feels more of like learning how to see the controls on the cockpit of a pilot. So like, you're seeing this, seeing this, seeing this, you're seeing this, you're seeing this, you're wondering what's up. Like, for most people, that's a headache, to tell you the truth. For my eyes, I like simplified things. I like to see order and flow, not bam, 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 like you don't know what you are looking at. That's why I prefer the Windows 10 start menu, because it's simplified and easy to understand. And then, guys, last but not least, I need to see about right click. You see, right click in Windows 10 was simple. It opened full dialog. Like, if you want to run a virus total scan, you need to see file location, you need to see delete, rename, all those. Right click once, one flow. But now in Windows 11, now you have to right click again, and then you go scroll down and then check on the right or the left, depending on your scalability of your Windows, to see the extended context menu. So I don't like that, guys. I know some people are comfortable with it, but myself, I don't like that. It's too crazy. It's something I need to just quickly scan, see the options in a full list. But now Windows 11 is limiting me those options, because it feels polished. They say it's polished, it's nice. Like, why though? Then speaking of which, if at all, guys, you want to, if you don't know about some, like some keyboard shortcuts, like, opening a new folder, opening text file, running command prompt, run as admin, those kind of things, there's ways you can learn about them separately, about, some of those keyboard shortcuts, to avoid either feeling so alienated in terms of understanding Windows 11 user interface, because a number of people tend to complain a lot, so people feel tired. And the reason as to why people are feeling tired is because of all that kind of stuff is being forced onto you, so it becomes heavy burden. And most people, let me tell you the truth, people don't like complicated things. People don't like complicated stuff they don't understand. They tend to be frightened. So Microsoft is not learning that, and it's forcing some users to move to Linux, because The way I see it, people are just only using Windows because of using like Office apps and Adobe, those things that are, understandable to the average users. But for super users, they can navigate between different kind of ecosystem. They can use Linux and Windows interchangeably. But for the average user, they will tend to feel so frustrated when opening the Windows and then suddenly it has crashed or something, some user interface has changed. So Microsoft, please consider the changes the community is suggesting, especially when it comes to the basic things that the user wants, privacy and everything to do. People are taking things seriously nowadays in 2026, and it's upon corporates to consider the user benefit, not corporate benefit. Then final thing, guys, maybe I'd want to discuss about is the smart app control, SAC, in Windows 11. So you see, SAC is a good concept that came in terms of would block unregistered or digitally signed softwares. Let's say, for instance, like apps like VLC, there is like Acrobat, there is things like AnyDesk, there is things like so many apps, TeamViewer, all those kind of apps you mentioned, the ones you commonly use, they are digitally verified and they have the digital signature. So you see, the smart app comes in where it needs to detect an app behavior and block it from either installing or launching by default. You see, in Windows 10, it doesn't have that SAC, but it has its own unique feature where that if you are to install something, there is the UAC that tries to block that app from launching. But then when it came to SAC, it even blocks some certain even genning apps, including that AnyDesk, from even installing. You can't even install QBitTorrent, which is an open source, of which I understand by open source means that they haven't gone through the channels where where it's given, like permissions, those kind of, those corporate level things where it can run and execute instructions based on your request. So you find that smart app is coming to block those apps. And you see, for people who love either doing maintenance, troubleshooting, and remote event service, like even using AnyDesk, I'm helping somebody. Then all of a sudden, I'm seeing the app cannot launch. Like, I'm wondering, why is it not launching? And then you go and see it has been blocked because it's not trusted or something. So you tend to ask yourself, why though? And then the worst thing comes to this situation. You find that if you try to turn it off, it tells you that you cannot reinstall it unless you are either recovering your Windows or reinstalling. I know Microsoft has developed for those insiders. They have those that have been enabled, where if you turn it off, you can turn it on. I'm not very sure about the details because I don't have Windows 11 at the moment. But based on what I know, there are some insiders who can enable or disable that feature. But for general users, for now it remains, not hidden. It's not yet released. If you turn it off, it means you have to either recover your Windows or reinstall Windows. Like, it is totally unfair. So SSC is very good for the average user. But for the super user, it becomes a problem because now you have to always check on the evaluation mode, like the evaluation setting for SSC. And then all of a sudden you find that SSC has decided to say, this app is dangerous, don't open it. Like, if it's developed and it's always genuine and it's coming from trusted source, it's supposed to block unverified, untrusted, malicious apps. But this one is genuine, like AnyDesk, or let's say like QBitTorrent has been developed by, it's an open source program, but then it's blocked. Then it becomes a problem. Like, I want to use an app, it's good, but why are you blocking me? I mean, even if it's an evaluation, but then suddenly it decides in some 2 days in the future, it decides, no, this is a dangerous app, we will not allow it to run. Now you have to just disable it completely. And then by accident, if you disable it and then you download the malicious software, now it cannot block that malicious software until now you reinstall Windows. It becomes a headache. In summary, Windows 11 is a good, I'd say it's good. I wouldn't say it's awesome like the way I enjoy in Windows 10. You see, in Windows 10, my experience matters most, my privacy matters most, my user interaction with the apps, with the layout, with the desktop is paramount. Unlike Windows 11, which feels it's something that is being shoved down for me to use. You decide what you want to use, whether in Windows 10 or 11. And if in Windows 10, if you haven't enrolled in ESU, you need to consider enrolling in ESU. There are instructions. But those who are in 11, if at all you find that you have updated, especially in the latest update, the January update, it's best for you to roll back to the earlier version of Windows 11, not roll back the Windows version, but uninstall that update until Microsoft has resolved that issue where it caused the system instability. It's being worked on. There are the insiders already have had their patches or the upgrades, but for just general users, it's quite unstable at the moment. So you choose wisely. And then guys, Windows 10 ESU, the free version, is ending on October 13th, 2026. So from there, now yourself and myself, you have to decide whether we are going to pay for that first year and second and third year subsequently. There is the cost. So for normal user, I think it should be, if I'm not wrong, 30 US dollars multiplied with the currency you have. So then for business, I think it's 60 something. For the business, that price will double. So choose, make your choice. And then finally, thank you guys. For those of you who have questions in regards to computing, Windows 11, Windows 10, Adobe, just feel free to interact with me. My number is right down below. You can talk to me, call me, WhatsApp me. Feel free to talk to me about anything in regards to Windows or in relation to what the content is about. See you in a minute.